Alright everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Second Floor Gardens, and today we are going to be talking about how to do a lemon tree cutting, so stay tuned. Okay, there's going to be a couple different things that you're going to need for this. You're going to need a knife, you're going to need some tape, regular masking tape will do. You're going to need however many clear cups that you need for however many cuttings that you're going to be doing. You're going to need that amount of clear cups. You're going to need a pair of scissors. These are just little, I don't know what's the technical name for these things, but they don't have to be these, but you do need a pair of scissors. Alright, need paper towels. You need a permanent marker or something to write on the tape with, but I suggest a permanent marker. You're gonna need a pen for your notes and to poke your hole. You're gonna need you a pair of gloves. Get your notepad for all your notes. Get you a jar that's holding your water. You're gonna need this to keep your cuttings in. I'm gonna be doing 2 different types of lemon trees, so you're gonna need 2 different glasses that have water in it so you don't get things mixed up. Alright, you don't need this exact one. But, or you don't need this at all really, but some rooting hormone, some pruners to actually get your cuttings off of the trees, and some rubbing alcohol to disinfect the pruners. Before I forget, you're also, see if you can see that, you're also going to need a medium mix for this specific project. You know, there's different people use peat moss, some people use peat moss, some people use coco coir, some people use regular topsoil, some people, there's a whole bunch of different things you can use. For this specific one, what we're going to be using 1 part vermiculite to 1 part perlite to 1 part soil. I'm going to mix all that stuff evenly, and we're going to wet it down. So that's what's in this bucket. I need to mix up some more, but we'll see. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, we have to select the cuttings that we're going to be using for this project. Before you do that, you need to go ahead and disinfect your pruners. So we're going to do that first, show you how we do that. Okay. Alright, so now to disinfect your pruners, all you want to make sure that you disinfect the pruners, because of course you might have some plants that have some type of disease or something like that with them, and even though you might have disinfected the last time that you went ahead and pruned something or cut something off, you always want to make sure you do this before you make any other type of cuts. You don't want when you make a cut, the inside of the tree and the tissue is going to be exposed. You don't want whatever's on that blade, whatever you did before, to go ahead and get in contact with whatever you're doing the cutting of, whether it's a tree, whether it's some type of herb that you're doing. You don't want that to interfere. So what we do, we just take a little bit of the rubbing alcohol and just spritz it on there. Make sure you get on the blade and all that. Go ahead and let it sit for a little bit. We outside in the sun, the light, so it's going to evaporate, but if you don't have the time for that, that's what the paper towels is for. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So look, it's already kind of, you probably can't tell, we already evaporated pretty much most of it. But we're going to wipe that off just in case. Take some of that paper towel. Just gonna go here. About between there. Flip that. Be careful because that blade there. At least I keep mine sharp, but wipe both that off. Then you're good to go. Okay. We took the cuttings, we have them sitting in water. So now what we're gonna do is prepare the cups. Okay, so what we're going to be doing something called the Peekaboo cup method. I got this from Lead Farmer 73. And basically this is for the nosy gardeners, which is essentially all of us. But it's a cup within a cup. But basically what's going to happen, this cup right here is going to catch any water that runs off of this, and it's going to provide shade because you don't want your roots to be exposed to any sunlight. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut holes inside of here. We're going to cut holes inside of here to make sure that the water can go ahead and drain out, and any extra water will be collected by that, and the roots will be protected from any sunlight. But I do my cuts a little bit different than he does his. I've done it his way before, but I just don't like what happens whenever you have to transplant it, because I guess I make my holes a little bit too big. So I'll show y'all what I do instead. So normally I'll go ahead and take the scissors, and let's see if you can see on here. Depending on the type of cups that you have, you'll have these little bumps right here. So yeah, these, you don't have to make the holes here, but this is kind of the distance that you want to have between the holes, between the slits that we're going to cut. So what we're going to do, take your scissors right in between, if I can. I'm going to cut it like that. So and just do that going all the way across. Okay. Alright, so that's what you're pretty much left with. You know, you ain't got to worry about any plastic pieces falling off or anything like that. And it still drains the water pretty well. So let me show you real quick how he normally does his. Okay. Now these are the cuts that he normally makes for his. Right. Cuts like that. So normally he'll go ahead and he'll take his knife or a pair of scissors. You really don't need a knife, but knife or a pair of scissors. But normally he takes it and just makes a small little incision right there. Like that. You do it like that. But the reason why I personally don't like doing it like this, zoom back out. Okay, the reason why I personally don't like doing it like this is because once the roots go ahead and start growing all the way down, they'll start spiraling, but then they'll make their way out of here. Once they make their way out of here, that's when my roots start dying. I don't know about anybody else's, but that's when my roots start dying. So I do them the other way just to make sure that, okay, cool, the water can still get let out, but those roots, instead of them coming and poking out, you can kind of see it on my other cutting, but instead of the roots coming out and getting that water in, like mine do die, it just starts to wrap around. It stays confined in here, so whenever I dump it over to take it out, it's all still there. I don't have to worry about the roots. One of the issues I would have with the roots would die once they come out. The other issue I would have is if they start growing real good and the roots get about out to like right here or something like that, and you go to pull them out, those edges are sharp, at least sharp enough to break off those delicate roots. You know, so I would want all of my roots to be, because most of the time if it comes out of this, probably like a taproot or something like that. But I doubt that a lot of those, I call it a taproot, but I doubt that it's a taproot, just because most of the time whenever I'm propagating some of these herbs and stuff like that. But you can see that issue. Close this back up. Let's see. Okay. See that little root right there? Now it's kind of yellow today, but yesterday or day before yesterday, it was white. All right. So that's why I really don't like. And then you if you take it out to check and you put it back in, you run the risk of putting it back in wrong, and then it's a little bit too close to the bottom. That could damage the root. I'm not trying to do all that. Try to keep as many roots intact as we can. So that. Alright, so here, let me zoom out. So here's the cup with our little slits. I can't remember if I showed y'all or not, but just in case I did, let me do it one more time. Oh yeah, I did show you, but those are the slits all the way around. all the way around the cup. Okay, now I'll show you the next step. Now all you really gotta do is take the medium. I'm trying to figure out how I want to go ahead and edit this. I might insert the clip on how to mix this now. Alright, so I officially ran out of the mix and I need to mix up some more. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to mix up the rest of this bag that I got. I only got a little bit of a swallow left in that bag, about that much. So I got the swallow left in this bag, but I got some more that I want to go ahead and mix up. And to be real, like you don't even need like a seed start mix, because like we did that. Let me see if I can find it on the bag. So to show y'all everything that's in here. Okay, look. Sphagnum, peat, moss, perlite, and a wetting agent. Right, so just that's all that's in this bag. So essentially, it's basically peat, moss, cocoa, and perlite, or you can do peat, moss, vermiculite, and perlite. And it doesn't really have a. It says there's some fertilizer in there. It's like it's a 0.03 all the way across the board for NPK. So for nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium, it's 0.03%. So yeah, so you can basically, where I'm getting is you can make this yourself. You don't have to keep buying these bags. Like I have a huge, I think that bag is about 50 pounds. I got like a 50-pound bag of peat moss in the garage. So like I don't have to keep buying this. I realized this when I finally bought it and I opened it up. I was like, oh, this is basically okay. I can make this myself. So anyways, onto the mixture. Again, we're doing one part of everything. Now I have a full bag of perlite. I have a full bag of vermiculite, but I only have like a fourth of a bag of the potting soil. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do all of the potting soil. However many cups that is, I'm going to match that with the vermiculite and the perlite. And then that should be enough to knock out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 cups done so far. I have 8 cups total, so that this should be more than enough to knock out those other 3 cups. But here we go. So let's get this situated. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, about roughly a little under 6. That's how much I got out of that bag. So a little under 6. So I'm gonna go ahead and match that with the vermiculite and perlite. 1, 6. 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now once we got all these things mixed up, you gotta take it, gotta wet everything down. You want this to be pretty soaked. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. But I have water can, so get that taken care of. Okay. Put the lid on here. What I'm gonna do, or what I do, take it, put the lid on, and shake it up. Okay, and this is what it's going to look like afterwards. So as far as consistency wise, you should be able to pick it up. Let me get it focused. Just like that, right? The consistency that you want to be able to do this. You don't see anything coming out, but it still holds that shape of your hand, right? So that's true, but it's real light, it's real fluffy, it's real airy. And then come back and we'll be to this point, which is really something we already had before, but I'm doing with something after, but it don't matter anyways. But just know, if I forget to do that, just know that whenever you're mixing this up, like I said, this is going to be even parts all the way across. It's going to be even parts perlite to vermiculite to soil. So if you take 1 cup of vermiculite, that means you need to take 1 cup of soil. It means you need to take 1 cup of perlite. Also, what you want to go ahead and do, once you get all that stuff mixed up, you need to wet this down. This needs to be wet before you go ahead and put it inside of here. I'm pretty sure that all this stuff is dried up because I had it sitting in here, and you can see there's a little, I put it in a bucket with a hole because I didn't want mold and all that stuff growing in there. So I'm pretty sure it's dry. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and fill this up and then wet this down with some of the water that I got from out the sink. Let that drain out for a little bit, and then once that's done draining, then I'll go ahead and start with the planting of the cuttings. Now again, we want to make sure we sterilize all of our equipment. Like I said, I took cuttings from 2 different plants, so that means that we're going to start with, we got to try to keep everything organized, so that's the best way to try to keep everything clean. So we're going to start with 1 plant. We're going to start with 1 plant and do everything for that. So we're going to sterilize this 1 time, do that 1 plant. Then once you're done with that 1 plant, we're going to take it, sterilize this again, and start working on the 2nd plant. Okay. Spray everything. Again, if you get one of these, be real careful because it is super sharp fresh out the pack. Okay. So with the cutting, this what your cutting is going to look like. You want it to be, I think they said from like 3 to 8 inches, but this is what you want to do. You want to take it, actually first you want to put a little hole and put that back in there. You want to take a pin and poke hole. You don't want it to be all the way down at the bottom, but you want to get down there pretty good. Right, make it a little hole, something like that. So I went down, what was that, about 2 inches? Went down about 2 inches. So you want to take your cutting. Now this one might be a little bit too small, if I'm being honest, because the rule of thumb, you want at least 2 nodes underneath the soil. And there goes 1, and there goes 2 more, and that's the rest of it. No. So this might be a little bit too small, but that's the whole point of the experiments. We're going to go ahead and do it anyways. So what you're going to do, you take each of the leaves and you remove it to the next one. Remove it. Take the next one. Remove it. Okay. Then get it right so you can see. Now you're going to take it and you want to scratch. You don't want to cut this. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work because this is super thin up here. I'm just not feeling it. But like I said, experiment. So what you want to do, you want to take it and you just want to scratch just a little bit. You want to scratch too. You don't want to scratch it all the way through, but you want to scratch enough to see where you can see the cambium layers. Okay, so we're, like I said, we're going to have 2 nodes, and really what you want to do, you want to cut it to where it's close enough to that node. You're going to cut it like a 45-degree angle. So this is what we're going to do, because it's still going to be 2. Okay, so what you want to do, you want to do it right underneath the node, because that's where the roots is going to come from. So I'm going to try to make it as close to that as possible. As close to that, see that? Close to that node as possible. Cut that off. Then we'll go ahead and take it. Like I said, there's 1 node, 2 node, both of those are going to be underneath, but you want to take it and just, you gotta hold it because it's kind of flimsy a little bit. So It's another reason why it's why we want to find one that's a little bit more sturdy. You don't want anything that's woody, but you still want something that's a little bit sturdy. So you see that? It's just green right there. And you can smell it. You can smell that lemon zest on it too. But that's how deep you want to go ahead and cut it or slice it. So you want to do that. Do that all the way through here, just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. And there. Okay. That's you want. Okay. So now, put this in the rooting hormone. Oh, another thing before I forget. Reason why I'm wearing gloves, or one of the reasons why I'm wearing gloves, you don't want to touch this with your fingers, because your hands got oils on it that could mess up, how it's going to go ahead and root. Also, you're not supposed to do what I'm about to do right now, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. They say you're not supposed to just dip it straight in there, but that's what I've been doing. So you're going to take this, dip it in there. That's where it's going to be. Put that down. And I can zoom out, man. I don't have to be zoomed in the whole time. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and take it. And then you put it straight down. Like I said, you want to cover both. You want to cover both of those. One node's down there, another node's up there, so cover it all the way. And then just pack it down. Just pack it down. You don't want to press down too hard, because you still want those roots to be able to roam free. But you go in and pack it down. Pack it down. Now, another thing that people do is cut that leaf in half. And there you go. There goes your cutting. So I'm about to try to set up the camera so you can catch everything on the table, and then we're going to try to go ahead and go from there. Place it on the cup straight as possible. So it looks like, yeah. And so when I look at this, have your notes be something that you understand. It ain't got to be something that everybody else understands. It's got to be something that you understand. So I have we have 2 Meyer lemon trees. This is from the first Meyer lemon tree, so that's the number 1. And then ML, Meyer lemon. And then 2L, 2 leaves, because 1 and 2. This is up here, it says number 3, because this is the 3rd cutting that I did from that batch. That half lets me know what I did with the leaves. Cut them in half. And then RH for rooting hormone. I need to put something on here and let me know that I left the tops on. Like it shows there, I need to put something that shows I left the tops on. But that's basically what I'm going to do for all of these. Okay, this is how the naming convention is going to go for this specific project. I kind of do this for each one of mine. It might be a little bit different, but I think this is the most organized that I've had it so far. So the first note for the first symbol, that's gonna let me know which plant it came from. So on this specific project that I'm doing, we have 2 plants. One of them we got first, the other one we got second. So the first plant will be noted by 1, the second plant will be noted by 2. The second one, that's going to be the abbreviation of the plant. Both of them are Meyer lemon plants, so the abbreviation for this section is going to be an ML. This one right here is going to be the cutting in series, so each of those cuttings has at least 3. So these numbers are going to be ranging from 1 to 3. There's going to be a 4th one for number 2. The 1/2 is going to be the constant because all of these leaves, any leaf that was left behind, except for the 3rd one because the tops were still left down there, but half of the leaf was cut off. So that's going to be denoted by the 1/2. This portion here is going to be noted whether it's a scrape or not scrape. I should kind of do away with it just for the simple fact that all of these are scraped, nothing was left unscraped, so that's really not needed in this. And then this number is going to be the date. So when all of it is said and done, it looks like this area here. And I'll show you why we do that in a little bit. Alright, the last and final step is to go ahead and put them in their homes. So what we have here is my little makeshift humidity dome. I have 15 cups all these are already projects I already have going on. These are the open projects that the new cuttings are going to be going in. I believe this is 15, so 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. So all those are going to be filled up with, I think maybe minus 1. It's going to be filled up with those. So it's time to get those back in the home. I'm going to put things in order, make sure that everything's in the same spot, or at least kind of together. So all the ones will be the ones, all the twos will be the twos, and then make sure everything kind of goes in the same order. Make sure my notes match up with that. And the reason that I do this is because I have a really bad habit of kind of shifting things around. Once you kind of get into this, you'll know that, okay, cool, you have one project going, something might fail, it opens up, and it might be in the middle of the middle of the humidifier. Let me see if I can actually show it. Okay, do this and actually point it to see if I can get something to point for y'all. Got a little shovel. Okay, so what I have a bad habit of doing is, I have right here, what's right here? This is the, I'm blanking. This is the Fuyu persimmon seed. That's the loquat. That cup and that cup right there, those are African blue basils, cuttings that I have going on right now. That one, this cup right here, is a lemon tree cutting that I started earlier this year. That cup right there is some lemon balm that I have going. The cup right here, you see this stick, you see that stick right there. That stick is the second lemon cutting that I had going on this year. And then way in the back here, you can't tell because the basil's kind of leaning away, but way back there, there's another basil. There's a sweet basil that's back there. So what I have a real bad habit of doing is, let's say that this lemon tree goes bad, right? Hopefully not, because I've been doing this thing for a year, so hopefully it stays good. But let's say that one goes bad. I have a bad habit of shifting all this stuff around, and then my notes I'll have my notes on my notepad and then my notes in my phone. Something might not match up. I have a real bad habit of that. So to prevent that on this go round, that's why we did the labels. So if I do decide to move something, I can move something shifting throughout the cups, but I'll still know exactly what's in that specific cup. So that's why we're doing it this way. So now we just gotta put stuff in their homes. So like I said, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should have some openings here. What do I want to start with? This is 2. So there should be 3 inside of here. So this is... If I can focus. Do I have it on manual? I think I do have it on manual. No, that's on automatic. But yeah, so that says 3. That's the second one of the Meyer lemon. That is the 4th one of the bunch. And there are 3 leaves left. So since this is the 4th one, I know this is the last one. Since this is the last one in the whole thing of 1 to 15, I'm gonna put this. Fix that. I'm gonna put this in there. So I'm gonna follow that from 4, 3, 2, 1. And then for the first Meyer lemon, 3, 2, 1. Go from there. Okay. One. So that's how things look, and that's how they're gonna be set up. So let me see if I can. There we go. That should put some more stuff in perspective. So that's how everything looks right now. I want to straighten this up a little bit. Yeah, it got knocked out. See, that down. And like I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, but in case I didn't, whenever you're patting this stuff down, you don't want to pack it down super tight. This is a light medium. The whole point of this of being light is so that roots can go ahead and kind of spread through there. So you don't want to pack it, but you want to keep it tight to where, you know, hey, this ain't gonna move if you tap it. So have that. Also, I have a little thermometer inside of here that lets me know the humidity, lets me know the temperature, the lows, the highs for the temperature, and the lows and the highs for the humidity. I keep this inside of here, you know, just so whenever I get ready to open it up, I can take a quick look. It'll let me know, hey, what's the environment like inside of here. What else? What else? So let me explain a little bit. So I don't think that I touched on why we had cut the leaves in half. So we cut the leaves in half because that's where the water is going to go ahead and evaporate from. We want to make sure that we keep this in a real humid environment. Having the full leaves there is going to take up a whole lot of energy, and the plants are going to lose a lot of water that way. So we want to keep that from happening. So we chop it in half to kind of minimize that from happening. So every day or every other day, I'm going to make sure I take the dome off and just take my little mister and mist the plants like so. I'm going to come in, do that every day, and then throw the dome back on top of it just to make sure that, hey, in case the humidity got a little bit too low, things got a little bit too dry, maybe I let the lid off a little bit too long or something like that, we have that moisture that's going to be in there. So once the heat kind of kicks a little bit, once the heat kicks back up a little bit, the humidity will go ahead and go up. We'll be good from there. So I'm going to put the lid on, put these back outside, and that's it. We're done. Now they say, I've heard people say that, hey, this takes about 30 days, so about a month, about 2 months. Hey, don't time it. I'm going to lean on the side of, hey, don't time it, because like I said, I have those 2 that I was doing before. I have that one and that one that I did earlier this year. And the roots, both of them had one root kind of go out pretty early, but that was the only root that was there. Recently, within the past couple of days, the roots have just kind of exploded. And they're kind of filling out they're starting to fill out the cups a little bit better. So I'm going to err on the side and say, hey, don't time it. Just keep doing the same thing every single day and just move on. Of course, you want to make sure that the medium doesn't dry out. But like I said, remember, this is, I don't think I touched on that either, man. I mixed a whole bunch of stuff inside of this video. So in the mixture that we mixed equal parts soil, perlite, vermiculite. Vermiculite holds water. It holds water really, really well. So what you don't want to do, you're not going to be watering this every day. You're not going to be watering this every other day. You're probably not going to be watering this every 3 days. There's a good chance you're going to be watering this, once a week, as in watering the actual soil. And to show you what I mean by watering, I'll show you exactly how much you might have to put in here. That's it. So clearly you're not going to be watering this a lot. You saw that was less. That was about 5 seconds maybe, and it was on a fine mist. So like I said, this vermiculite holds a lot of water. If you overwater it, it's going to die. Citrus doesn't like having wet feet. So you watering it too much is going to kill it, especially with it being inside of the humidity dome. Like, it's going to lock in the moisture. So you really don't have any reason to water this too much. And plus, to be honest, they kind of like drying out a little bit. You don't want them to be extra dry. Tell you what, you'll know whenever it's time to water it again, because if you go back to when you're first filling up the cups, like I said, the mixture should already be pre-soaked. The mixture should already be pre-soaked. Put it inside the cup, and it'll be a light cup, but you'll feel the weight. It'll have a little bit of weight to it. Like, okay, cool, something's inside this cup. Whenever this stuff gets dry, it feels like nothing or close to nothing is in the cup. That's how you know it's time to water again. So just keep that in mind. And we'll check back. Today is it's 12 o'clock now, because, it's actually almost 1, because the stuff got pushed back. But started this on the 20th. So September the 20th of 2024. We're going to check back in a month. That means October 20th of 2024. We should be circling back and checking out. Of course, I'm going to be checking in on these periodically to see what's going on. But as far as recording, we'll check back in on this to see what's going on. So see y'all back for part 2. All right.